racing. That is straight ahead on today's NFL Total Access with Lindsay Rhodes, Scott Hansen, and coming up, Ryan Shazier.
Lindsay, top story tonight is a holdout for a star player for a Super Bowl contending team that's apparently going from bad to worse. Talking about Chargers running back Melvin Gordon. He's been holding out all of training camp, not wanting to expose himself to injury, trying to get a new deal as he's going into the final year of his rookie contract. And today, ominous clouds may have grown darker. NFL media insider Ian Rappaport joins us now live. Ian, what are you hearing about Gordon's negotiations?
Scott, sources say that Melvin Gordon is expected to take his holdout, one he has had since the beginning of training camp, into the regular season. He is now expected to miss regular season games for the Chargers, which means they're going to go into 2019 with Austin Eckler and a bunch of running backs who they really like, but not their star, not their bell cow. He is going to be away training. He's been training in San Diego. He's been training in Florida. Either way, that is where he's expected to be for the foreseeable future. My understanding is the relationship between Gordon and the Chargers is fine. There's a mutual respect. There's just a disagreement over the value of Melvin Gordon and the future and what he believes he is worth. And contract talks have not progressed enough to get him to show up, or certainly to get a deal done. Obviously, Scott, it's been a difficult training camp for the Chargers. They lost Derwin James for half the season. He's IR bound. Russell Okung, their star left tackle, expected to start the season, not on the field with an illness. This is another tough one for the Chargers.
Boy, the Melvin Gordon thing, you're talking about your leading rusher for 3 straight seasons, almost 1,400 scrimmage yards last year. We're still 2+ weeks away from the regular season opener, and if we're already seeing these smoke signals, not a good thing if you're a Chargers fan. All right, okay. Ian is with us all Total Access long. He's got the notebook full on stuff on Pat Mahomes, the Giants quarterback situation, and an update on the Cowboys triplets negotiations. See you again soon, Ian. Lindsay?
First, a clearing of the air from Cleveland. Baker Mayfield insisting again today that the things that he was quoted as saying in GQ about Daniel Jones, about his mind being blown when he was drafted number 6, about the reference to his losing record at Duke, they were all taken out of context.
Just things taken out of context, and that's the problem with today's day and age. You know, you don't read the whole thing, you don't put 2 and 2 together, you just kind of read scripts, and then people, you know, they combine sentences from different conversations. And so it seemed very disrespectful, and I can understand that. But what people didn't realize is the conversation entailed of me saying that I was surprised I was drafted number 1 overall too. You know, I reached out to Daniel because all that blew out of, way out of hand, and I wanted him to know how I felt. Just wanted to clear the air with him. And, it is what it is. That's today's day and age. You read one thing and you can have your feelings. But that's the only reason I addressed it yesterday, is because that, to me, that came back on my character. That's one thing that I don't care about a lot of opinions of it, if you like me or not, but that looked like my character was, way out of line. And so that's the only reason I addressed it.
Baker expected to play on Friday against the Bucs. OBJ is not. The wide receiver dealing with a hip injury hasn't participated in team drills since August 6th. He has indicated that he expects to be fine for week 1, but again, probably not going to go this week without any practice or practice reps under his belt during the week. Should he play this week, Willie McGinnis, James Jones? Is this a problem that he doesn't have these reps in the preseason?
I think it is. You're coming in with a new quarterback, new OC, new offense, had to learn the whole system. And unlike any other receiver, OBJ moves around everywhere. So he's running routes in the slot. He's running routes on the outside. You have to get in the game to get these timing routes down. It's one thing running them in practice. But when you get in the game and OBJ maybe does a little stem at the top of a route, or maybe tries to give a little hezzy at the top of a route, that's something, that live speed, you're not going to be able to simulate that in practice. They need to get some of these time. Now, I remember when I was playing with Derek Carr, I played in one preseason game, he didn't play. He played in the 4 preseason game, I didn't play. So when we came into week 1, we were having these conversations on the football field that, look, at the top of this route, I might do this. I might not come out of my break that fast if he's underneath me. And these are the conversations that Baker and OBJ need to have on a Monday after a game. And if he doesn't play in the game, these are the conversations that they're going to be having week 2, week 3, but they could have already had him ironed out if he was to play in the game. So I really think he should go out there. I mean, obviously he's hurt, but I think if he could have, they needed to see him out there playing.
And I think some of this has been emulated in practice when you have the joint practices. And that's not really it either because everybody's not out on the field. And I do agree with you. The timing for a quarterback and a receiver, the nuances to a receiver, the way he gets out of the breaks, the things he gives you before he's about to break, the double moves and all that, the spacing with the route tree with all the other receivers, I think that's important to have. But when you look at the history of the injuries when it comes to OBJ and all the injuries that he's had in the past that he's dealing with right now, you think about it. It's the third preseason game. Is it worth it? Do we need to put him out here right now and lose him before we play in the fourth preseason game and it's not even regular season yet? How valuable would he be to us then? So I think you take a lot of things into consideration, and when you weigh everything in, it's probably a good idea not to, especially if he's hobbled. Because if he's hobbling and he's not 100%, now he's going to compensate, and something else is probably going to break down. So I get it. But you do want to see him out there. You want to see all the pieces playing together.
So if he's not out there, then that'll be it for the preseason because they're not going to play in week 4. And Freddie Kitchens has acknowledged that is the plan to sit his starters next week. Browns game this week is against the Bucs, who will also have a pretty high-profile wideout on the sideline. One who will be a year older. Mike Evans turning 26 today, being held out with a leg injury on Friday, according to Tom Pelissero. It's a minor quad or groin issue. Not expected to be a big deal, but not worth pushing in the preseason either. Other than that, it sounds like most of the Bucs starters will see time, though how much remains to be seen at 7 Eastern Friday night right here on NFL Network.